Welcome everybody to our tune-up for the January 2024 energies. All right, so Happy New Year for all of you. First of all, I've already done a few energy talks about these incoming energies, and there's two themes. Yeah, one is, working with truth, and not just like a truth, but the truth. Okay, the truth within ourselves, which has to do with authenticity, which has to do with congruence. Yeah, and ultimately, seen from a higher perspective, our willingness to harmonize with what is. The second aspect to that, and this is actually the one that we will see more on the outside, is the impulse for coming together, the impulse for like working in unity. Yeah, this synergistic impulse that I have been reporting about. Yeah, us as societies reorganizing in a more decentralized and a more community oriented, in smaller units, if you will, that work together. Yeah, this is quite a big shift. And when I write about societal changes, you got to understand that this is big, because the last, I want to say 50 years, the tendency for our collective was to individualize, to, for everybody to have their own house, their own car, at least one, their own bread baking machine, their own foot massager, and their own whatever, Roombas. And as you see what I'm saying, those are symbols for consumerism, but also symbols for individualism. As things are getting a little tighter now, in regards to the resources, for most part, we're not really seeing, an impact, like something like a scarcity of resources yet. You can still order things at Amazon, and it's there the next day, and it comes from China within 3 days. There's no scarcity there. But this will actually change this year, and unfortunately, it will do this in a way that we will feel quite triggered. Yeah, and we had a little bit of a preview of that in last winter in Europe, where the energy prices, doubled or tripled up. It will be very core. Yeah, so once we have this realization that some of the most fundamental resources that we need for life, yeah, such as water, air, sunlight, and soil, are being, tampered with, or are being held back, or are being manipulated or modified. All right, then this will trigger something completely different in us than, let's say, the prospect of increasing interest rates or inflation. We're going to see more inflation, even though it looks like right now that, it's sort of kept at bay. But the 2024, from a financial standpoint, is going to be very volatile. It means that there's going to be lots of fluctuations and really quite unpredictable. On top of that, we have the push into the cryptocurrencies, and understand this correctly here, those of you who've been following me and who've been working with me throughout the years with understanding cryptocurrencies, understand that there's 2 or 3 different kinds of cryptocurrency aspects. Okay, there's the technology underneath it, the blockchain, which I explained at length many years ago, is the technology of the future. It is fundamentally a technology that promotes decentralization. And part of the sort of stalling, or almost like the holding back of that technology, which, by the way, you will also see in with other technologies, they're not new. Like AI is not new, guys. All right, it's just now that it's being gradually released to the public so that the acceptance can grow in people. Yeah, but um, the push into that is not the same as the push of the technology. So if you think about it, it was all about controlling information. Blockchain allows information to be distributed or transferred in a way that it does not actually allow cover-ups. It doesn't, it comes with maximum transparency. And part of the reason why this technology has been held back, those of you who have been speculating on cryptocurrencies know exactly what I'm talking about, comes from, the big tech firms and banks not really haven't been at the top of the food chain yet. So these last 7 years were all about, you know, um, getting a foothold in there and trying to control this. So the push into cryptocurrencies now that are coming in through central banks, and this is not a conspiracy theory, this is happening, okay? You can read this up, like literally just Google it, European Central Bank or Federal Reserve. It's announced and installed, yeah, is sort of the first step into the social credit system. You got to understand this. This is a different kind of push. This is basically using a technology like blockchain by twisting it so that it can be controlled, so that there's a layer, like it's almost like a fake layer around it that is centralized. Yeah, and that's what we're going to get pushed in. Those of you who have studied and learned and educated themselves about cryptocurrencies in the past understand a little bit better that one of the reasons why I recommended it roughly 10 years ago is because of the ability to bypass um, at least at least sort of the blindness with which people are going to run into this. Yeah, so you can have a little bit of an advantage here if, and it's not too late for that. Yeah, so there's most of the financial stuff this year is happening in the last 4 months of the year around the election here in the United States. Yeah, so in the United States, the crypto dollar, all right, this transition to the crypto dollar is a little more difficult than the transition into the crypto euro. Yeah, because Europeans are much more likely to accept digital currencies. So that requires a little more preparation here when it comes to propaganda. Yeah, so there has to be a lot more that happens for people here to be willing to accept a crypto dollar. So there are, some things that you have to be very conscientious and mindful about. Yeah, what company, what organizations, what banks, what products you say yes to by buying them, by consuming them. This will be a bigger and bigger problem in the future. Now, coming back to the scarcity of fundamental resources, that's something that scares us when we hear that. So are you all going to have to deal with, the fact that there are companies here that have been buying all the water supply, that have been buying farmland, that have been buying, all the seed banks for decades already, guys. This has been in the making for decades, for as long as I have an awareness. Okay, this is not new. And when you begin to see this in its full scope, it will shock you. And you will ask yourself, how can people like Jona or, anyone that that has been knowing this all along live with this truth? You're going to have to learn to live with this truth as well. There are some things that just have to happen. They have to go on. They have to occur. okay, for other things, for, you know, the higher version or the higher expression of it to come into play. It's the same with technology. Here I'm telling you that the entering, cryptocurrencies for our societies is the beginning of the social credit system, which is basically, you know, the downfall of materialism. Yeah. And on the other hand, I'm educating you about the technology behind it. This is what I do. I'm educating you, okay? I'm showing you the aspects that allow you to discern what you're seeing. Yeah. So, what does the knowledge, and this is very important because this whole year is about integrating truth. What does the knowledge, okay, that our water supply is being tampered with, is being bought off, shipped off, that really the fundamental source of life here for our societies is being controlled. How do you live with that knowledge? You're all going to have to deal with this year, with these realities. What do you do without becoming insane or paranoid with all the things that I'm pointing out, right? Obviously, you know, if you faint-hearted, then that gives you anxiety, because you, I'm asking you to look at truth. I'm asking you to look at things that are, for me, are like sort of like old information, or for many of you as well. But now is the time that we actually have to deal with it, right? And so when it comes to working around these things, it's really important that we overcome this first impulse of fear. Okay, so it's the clearing of our belief system that can help us with it. So if we, and this has nothing to do with conspiracy theory, if we just simply accept, yeah, that these ego notions that we all feel in us every day, that they are also running the leading powers in this world. Yeah, greed, control, power. This is, you struggle with your ego. What do you think that, when that happens on a government level or on a organization level? Yeah, they all struggle with it. It's part of our human condition. It's part of accepting the reality that we're surrounded by people who are not in truth. Okay, so that's part of this realization. Not just your friends or your co-workers or your partner or whatever, but no, everybody is. So there's two elements to that. There's the accepting that other people aren't able to fully see it, okay, and integrating that, yeah, and finding ways to deal with this. And yes, it triggers anger and frustration and disappointment and feels like a betrayal and makes us anxious. But that's only because we have opted to not look at these things. It's important that we no longer turn this blind eye to it. Yeah, you cannot assume, and that's the clearing of the belief system, that the organizations, yeah, food, pharmaceutical companies, industrial, military, petrol companies, that they have your best interest in mind. What world do you live in if you truly believe that? This is what waking up means, and it's really rough, guys. Yeah. And it's a lot easier for you than it is for most people because gradually you've learned how to integrate these things. Yeah, you may not fully be aware of it, but with your alignments, yeah, that you have been practicing, yeah, and training, you can find ways, you can find solutions. Okay. There's just a few things now that we all need to integrate. And they have to do with us overcoming this falsely understood impulse for individualism. Do we really all need our own bread making machine? Do we really all need our own juice, or do we really need our own this or that? Or can we come together with others and share our resources? Can we become stronger through supporting and empowering one another? Yeah, can we allow the sum of all of us to become greater than what our individuality could ever reach? Now, is this solution that I'm talking about collectivism? Yeah, uh, related to like communism or socialism in the Karl Marx sense? No, we already know that that does not work. We already know that, humanity isn't at that place yet where, like, oh, we're all holding hands and singing Kumbaya and everybody owns everything and we peacefully share everything. That is not working. Again, part of accepting truth. It is not working. There's too much corruption. There's too much hidden agenda. So what is the solution then? It's the middle ground. It's the third option. It's the finding the right people to do this with. It doesn't have to be tons of people, just the right people that you resonate with, that are grounded, that are spiritually aware, yeah? That have courage, that have faith and hope, that have a genuine love for humanity. Those are the attributes that you need to look at in other people. They don't have to be this or that. They just have to have their heart in the right place, their minds free and independent of mind control and propaganda. Yeah, and their willingness to act, yeah, the courage to step into action needs to be there. And sometimes, it is just in the mere coming together that this courage, this hope, and this faith that occurs by us mutually sharing and exchanging things occurs. So this is goes right along with, the difference between, when we do in meditation on our own and when we do meditations or energy sessions together. We all become amplifiers of one another. So if you pick the right people, all right, then your own alignment will be amplified through others. Yeah, we'll teach each other. Yeah, we'll elevate each other just by being authentic, just by being in truth with ourselves. So, guys, this spirit of truth, yeah, that I've mentioned here in the forecast for 2024, and it is sort of as introductory lesson in January with the task to learn the love of truth. You have to learn to love awakening, even if the ego is kicking or screaming. You have to be willing to see things straight into the eyes and say, oh, okay, well, that's not really nice. Okay, well, how can I deal with that? And the first thing that we will learn here in a little bit about the disciplines of truth, that the first thing that we need to remind ourselves is to not be afraid. And here's why. And this has to do with understanding the nature of dark forces. So if some of these words that I'm using now, like luciferic, harmonic, and etheric, do not make sense to you, then ask me directly or go back to the recordings about the nature of darkness, understanding the nature of darkness. Doubt that the way you see it, that the way you feel it is wrong or is, not acceptable for others. Okay, that is a luciferic energy. Doubting that which you are, doubting that you are really this soul with a body. Yeah? That's a luciferic energy that is coming in through your negative inner self-talk, critical inner voice. Yeah, listening to it. And the antidote to doubt, the antidote to these luciferic forces that are working through you in this way is courage. The courage to face truth. The spirit of truth is an extremely powerful resonance. Not even the dark forces can defeat it or can outweigh it or can overpower it. So courage is part of this spirit of truth. Yeah? The willingness or the, having, this, the steadfastness to stand your ground and not react to it. Don't give your critical inner thinking and your negative inner self-talk more power than you would to a temper tantrum throwing child. Okay? The fear that can get triggered through the doubt, yeah. So there's a connection here. Is harmonic in nature. So Ahriman works through fear, works through, the fear of not having enough resources, not having enough money, the fear of losing it all, the fear of, I don't know, the unknown, okay? The fear of the unknown. That's how the harmonic works with you. And this is a bit part of what I just mentioned here on our government level. Yeah, that is fundamentally the nature of the dark forces at the moment here in our time. Yeah, it triggers fear in us and therefore, leads us into like consumerism, blind obedience, and false hope. Yeah, that we could somehow live forever, that we could somehow secure our riches forever. Okay. And along with other things. And the one thing, that you can use to out-vibrate this is faith. If you understand yourself as a soul with a body and not a body with a soul, you don't need to fall for this. Nobody can tell you that. Yeah? So the antidote for harmonic forces is faith, is understanding your spiritual authority. Yeah, everything that we talked about here in these last 12 days. And then lastly, and this is, the third dark force that is emerging right now, and that's something that we are not really familiar with yet on that level, is hatred. The utter disregard to human life altogether. Yeah, you see this less frequently out in the open, because that is something that, all people kind of sort of rile all people up, yeah. But when you look at these pictures in the news about, those crying children and dead children and, in these war zones, okay, then understand that hatred is being seeded in you through these pictures. There are levels of hatred in our societies that we have no clue about as, just sort of normal, good people. All right. And that is a power that is growing right now. And the way it plays out in you is this coldness, this unlove, yeah, this numbness, this no longer being able to feel your heart. This is why I have been, telling you for years that this is your insurance policy. Yeah, to work with your heart consciousness, to work with your true self, and to develop the courage to come out of the woodwork, to make a stance for yourself, to work to train your spiritual authority. They are now being empowered through the spirit of truth. So I need you guys to understand this. The spirit of truth brings the biggest revelations that we had so far, and it will show the ugly truth of who is and how they are running the show. I do not recommend you to go into the deepest rabbit hole of conspiracy theory. It's not needed for you to recognize it. It's not needed for you to discern it. You just have to accept it. And all it really takes is you understanding yourself. You are an advanced, yeah, or you're a person with an advanced spiritual understanding. And yet, on a day-to-day level, you still deal with your own lower impulses. It is part of what we have to contend with as humans. So we all need to reconcile that, not just within ourselves, also in others. So by volunteering to give truth a permanent voice in your heart, you are changing your life. It will repel people who do not like truth. It will drive people out of your life that are projecting, that are, pretending to be something that they are not. But it will ultimately bring you to a place of more inner peace. Because when you resonate with others and you strengthen one another in this way, and you learn from another in this way, you will feel less afraid. You will feel less doubt. And you will feel less resentments. You will still be able to see the truth everywhere. And that is what needs to be reconciled. So overall here, January will feel a little lighter, yeah, but very fast paced. Yeah, very fast, and that requires us to stay on our toes. We need to really connect with truth in our hearts on a regular basis. And why is that? Because it's like, you're standing in an ocean with huge ocean waves, guys. Okay, if just sort of bobbing along, okay, you're just gonna get swept with the current. Okay, and aligning yourself to this spirit of truth, yeah, loving truth more than your fear, than your doubt, than your hatred, gives you that power. All it takes is to say no, thank you. Don't have to go against it. Don't have to convince anybody. You can just say, nope, this is not for me. So diving a little deeper here into the spiritual concept of the spirit of truth, and then I do the first reading. The spirit of truth is a concept that refers to an aspect of divine guidance. Yeah, this is like a download or like an impulse that you feel, wisdom or enlightenment that leads individuals toward a deeper understanding of truth, morality, and spiritual realities. Yes, so basically, as you align yourself, you will automatically see more. You will automatically be able to discern better. The concept reflects a profound human yearning for a guiding force that helps individuals to navigate the complexities of life, make ethical decisions, and seek a deeper understanding of the realities that go beyond the material and mundane aspects of life, of existence. So truth can replace your externalized power. Yeah, this yearning for guidance from the outside, for somebody to tell you what to do, is what got you here. That is what got all of us here, because we lost that connection. And this is what we're in the process of rebuilding, guys. When you build a proper relationship, a proper connection with the spirit of truth in you, which you are perfectly capable of. You know, we train this here with every energy session. Yeah, it becomes your guiding force. You will be able to feel these kind of truths, like we mentioned earlier about the water and the air and food and all of this, with, well, effortlessly. Yeah, you don't have to seek or study, like why this party says that and why that. You don't need to. You just know it. Okay, you just know that certain medications or certain foods are not good. And certain companies or certain political figures or champions of some human causes are dark. You just know it. I called this, the bonus of being able to discern the dark forces. This is a bonus, okay? I know you're not asking for it. You're not asking for being able to see the dark. But there is no way to you becoming a conscious soul self without recognizing that there are also dark forces, yeah, forces that work against your growth, against your your spiritual expansion. Yeah, you cannot just have, the all right, the rainbows and the unicorns. You have to recognize it. And some of us here, we have been introduced to spirituality through the dark. And for you, this is the other way around. You now have to recognize that there's something very beautiful in humans as well. Yeah, you have to learn to recognize the light, not just in you, also in others. And this can come in different forms. In form of simple people who don't know anything about spirituality, in form of children, in form of nature, animals, just sort of loving communities. Truth is a feeling that reminds of love. It's a very deep, esoteric concept, yeah, that hints at truth as, the Christ consciousness. So Christ consciousness is associated with the Spirit of Truth. Jesus was called the Spirit of Truth. Yeah, sent by, well, the powers of love. Yeah, by the powers that brought everything into existence. Here, just real quick, run through the energies of the month, guys. The disciplines of truth. I'm probably going to write an article about this, just to, to familiarize ourselves a little bit more with this. Accepting one's ego's mind's limitation. This is something we talked about quite a bit, and expecting or putting into consideration that because of these limitations, there are always things that we cannot see. Yeah, this is a bit of a humbleness here, but first just through through executing your free thinking, then need to recognize that you will always have filters. Yeah, even if it is just on the level of being human. Yeah, you will always see less than a higher evolved spiritual being like an angel or archangel or archide. You understand? So there will always be a limitation, just like how a 3-year-old has a limitation compared to a 5-year-old, compared to a 12-year-old, etc. There's nothing wrong with that. It's okay. We just need to realize that it's part of how it's part of our journey. Understanding the power that brings about truth. This has to do with the spiritual hierarchies and with, really sort of tuning into the mechanisms. Can there be truth without freedom? No, there can't be. Freedom is the power that brings in truth. And that has to do with choice and your consciousness. Yeah, so first comes the development, or first comes the realization that you have a choice, and then comes the discernment, the truth, and then comes the love, the love for truth, the highest level of integration of Christ consciousness. Number 3, neutrality and non-attacking attitude. Yeah, this is the sort of non-reactiveness, along with the non-attachment, letting go of these things that hold us back. Yeah, how do we let go of them? Not by ignoring that they're there, no, by walking with them. Yeah, like looking at them and working with them. Number 5, patience. Takes a while to unfold. Unfolding and dissolving, those are the mechanisms that run the universe. Number 6, fearlessness. Yeah, we can't be afraid of the future or death or any of these things. Yeah, so fearlessness is the energy, to be fully present in the moment, okay, and to recognize that right now you can choose to do this or this or that. Right now you can choose to see something in a different light or through different eyes. Right now you can choose to not react, or these are, you can choose to say something. This is what gets you to this place of fearlessness, is that you know that you have the choice. You don't always have to execute it. You don't always have to act on it, but you do have the choice. And that's why you don't need to be afraid of anything, because no matter what comes your way, you will always have a choice. Number 7, the willingness to be of service is one of these often misunderstood disciplines of truth, because in order to be of service to truth, you also sometimes have to accept that other people cannot see it. And so you need to anticipate that and work that so that you can help people to see truth yeah, in their own timeline or on their own, through their own journey, through their own process. Self-mastery is obviously, all these things that we talked about here in the Sacred Self-Healing community in the last year, beyond just the thinking and the feeling and the willing, also to recognize when you're in harmony and disharmony with, your environment, your conditions. Sometimes it just doesn't make any sense to stay in a condition that is so hostile or so lowering for you that you expend all your energy on just trying to cope with it. And then number 9, the humble recognition that you are not truth. You are not truth. But you can tune into it if you let go, and this is your ego's megalomania of believing that you are truth, or that your truth is the only truth. There's a humbleness, a true humbleness that has to come in, that there's always another level of truth. And just because of what you're seeing right now doesn't mean that there is no higher level of truth. You always need to put into account that there are things that you cannot see yet, and therefore, you're only seeing parts of truth, the whole truth, the big truth, so to speak. And then lastly, the devotion to truth itself, to love, just love truth more than your ego. Realizing, having these kind of insights and coming to these kind of conclusions out of the love for truth. It no longer matters to you whether you like the truth or not. So antipathy and sympathy have nothing to do with devotion. Devotion happens because you recognize the power of truth and you love it, you want it more, so you devote yourself to it, regardless of whether you like it or not. Just real quick, the collective vibrational energies here in January, on the lower end, coming in as apathy, as not really kind of laziness in a way, not really being able to muster this energy, this courage that is needed to break free, but at the same time also the energy of reason, which is something that shows you, the collective, if you will, that hey, there's a really, really good reason for you to do something. So reason is quite a high vibratory energy already, that can bring forth beautiful developments. That can start new organizations, new businesses, new movements. And that allow us to take the information that is being revealed and form something that makes sense, that just feels true. So reason is above just the courage to look at truth that is here. Reason gives it a meaning. So expect some interesting shifts here in our collective this month, because people will realize, that something needs to change, and there will be new impulses from people, companies, organizations, to form, new communities, new parties, perhaps even, that respond to truth. Energetic triggers and resonances. So energetic triggers are things that can, affect our energy without maybe us being fully aware of it. Yes, it reaches deep into our subconscious. And it takes a little, training to be able to identify this. So you have to learn how to read your own energetic state to go beyond your own subconscious. You have to go deeper than these protective mechanisms that your psychology has. And that's basically what we learn here in the energy course and the energy training club and the sacred self healing course and even love integrity. We learn to look at the energetic dynamics, yeah, and read out the energetics of things so that we can better respond. Yeah, so especially when it comes in form of triggers, because triggers usually work without our consciousness. Yeah, and this is where energy work can really help us to build new pathways, yeah, to responding to the world. Here I divide them into groups of, you know, how they affect us physically, emotionally, mentally, spiritually, and purely energetic. On a physical level, we will feel the month of January as, I would say, even though it's lighter than December, it will still feel like we need to release, we need to clear out some stagnant energies. So translated to your physiology, you're gonna have to deal with clearing, actually a detox, yeah, like a 3-day fast, or like juicing for 3 weeks or something like that. Could really help and support this apathetic energy in you, yeah, to release. Whenever we release them, we feel so much more energy, yeah, and that's something here that you will also need to see in context with your emotions or your relationship. So as far as your emotions is concerned, there's going to be a lot of self-doubts in this month, and that will keep you low. It will keep you in sort of this sort of anxious state of, am I doing the right thing or not? This constant back and forth. Um, uh, just sort of remember that self-doubts are energies that come in through your mind, they come in through your critical thinking and your negative inner self-talk, and really all you need to learn is how to counteract them within yourself. Yeah, how to talk to your critical inner voice and realize that these self-doubts are often disguised inner judgments, yeah, where you sort of tear yourself down. On this the thought level, okay, you will feel like you have to defend yourself. You have to sort of counteract this. You have to, react to this. You have to like prove that you are the best, or that you have the right to be here, or that you um, are as good as you think you are, and so forth. So this can lead to a little bit of energetic stress in us here. Yeah, so our lower energies are pretty strongly triggered here in January. Meanwhile, and this is the interesting part, we also get these higher energies in that allow us, to reason with ourselves and to say, hey, yeah, it's okay that I made a mistake in the past. I didn't know any better. And really coming to the realization that there are no such things as mistakes. So this can also be what it means to accept one's limitations. Yeah, we cannot always, make the perfect choices. We can only make choices according to where our energy is at a certain state, which is why we can't really find these higher vibratory solutions when we're in these states. You have to really, really remember this. Yeah, you cannot come up with new ideas if you're full of stagnant energies, or if you're full of self-doubts or defensiveness, because you're just not gonna have the energetic capacity, yeah, to even recognize those kind of ideas or resolutions when they come in. Yeah, this doesn't happen until you go into this sort of reconciliation and accept, okay, sometimes I can't see the the forest for the trees or the tree for the forest. Yeah, it just is. Okay, so it's my responsibility then to make myself, you know, become more grounded or become more calm, or, you know, to do something, yeah, to self-regulate so that I can arrive at a better energetic state that can then allow me, yeah, to recognize higher vibratory solutions. Here's sort of on this energetic level, we'll get two aspects. One, yeah, that has to do with our growing or forming ability to discern what is good for my energy. So this came in December, so continue going on for you. And that will be sort of amplified by an impulse that I called here longing for more. You want more of this. You want more growth. You want more expansion. You want things to move faster. You want things to, you know, finally develop. And this will happen for you in this year. Yeah, but we still have to deal with these weather conditions as they come in. So these energies in January, yeah, what they do to our personal resonances is that they really force us, yeah, to step into our spiritual self-authority. And in order to be able to do that, we got to reconcile this schism that we all have between our ego and our spirit self, or ego and true self. So you see here is the biggest arrow. So I sort of color code them by the chakras, but also by the impact that they'll have on you. Your personal resonances will mostly be impacted through aspects of authenticity and becoming more aware of your full self projections. Yeah, this isn't always a nice process, but if you understand yourself as a spirit being, yeah, that is having a 3D physical material experience, it will be much easier for you to own that and to say, yeah, I used to see myself like this. I always used to wanted to be the best, or I always wanted to be right, or I always, you know, wanted to hide, or I always wanted to this or that. Okay, as sort of part of your development, as part of your maturity, yeah, that you've gained today, that you see, well, I don't really need that anymore. That's not really who I am. And while we have sort of pretty big impact here of these, what I call a healing of insecure attachment, so this has a lot to do with sort of mother energies in our lives, yeah, the how we relate to these feminine qualities in us, yeah, so all of us, because there will be aspects here that will be so core to us that they can zoom us back into the pain of the past. We got to be careful to not get stuck in there. Yeah, so while that is coming in, we also have these beautiful high vibratory, these cosmic energies coming in that allow us to see life through new eyes, yeah, to see that there is a new future out there in all the chaos and in all these transformation pains that we're going through, and that really all we need, yeah, is to allow truth to be with us and to love truth, yeah, as a spiritual power. Many of you will feel an impulse for more creative expression. All I can say to you is go for it, because that is how you're gonna, yeah, be able to explore yourself. Important dates here in January. This desire for more that I mentioned, this is coming in here right these days. Okay, and this will, you know, first make us all, you know, sort of niggly, and then we're going to try to get this. This is usually how we do this, yeah, how our ego does it. We're going to try to get this from the outside, and it's not going to work. Yeah, so within our relationships, yeah, where we typically try to get this more, yeah, be it joy or pleasure or fulfillment, yeah, we now are asked to step into a higher level of spiritual understanding. Yeah, our relationships are not there to make us complete or to heal us or to um, give us what we need. Our relationships are there to help us grow, to help us, yeah, increase our capacity for love, to learn the dynamics of giving and receiving, yeah, to release us, to help us heal from all these things that we, experienced as painful in our childhood or early developmental stages. And this brings in a new understanding of spiritual responsibility. So there is a spiritual responsibility that those of you who are already aware of the energetics in relationships and how sort of our love integrity can express, that will play out in ways that you actually begin to see your partner as a soul self as well. You will begin to see the very thing that you have been working on to reframe for yourself in the other. If you don't, if you can't see the soul self, the true self in the other, if you just see sort of the role that your partner plays, or the performance, or sometimes also just the projections, yeah, of how you want him or her to be, um, then it's probably a good idea to use this first week here in January to tune in if this relationship is good for you. Or, yeah, on the other hand, if it's good for you, but you are still resisting, yeah, the learning, the higher learning that is coming in through your relationships. On the 11th, we're going to go through a moon, this new moon. This is really sort of the beginning of these New Year's energies. Yeah, this is where a shift occurs. Yeah, I call this new future. Okay, this is just because all of a sudden we begin to see future differently. Yeah, because we have more pieces of the puzzle now. And this also requires us to adjust, our own planning, our own ideas for our own personal future. So we need to engage in really authentic exploration here, yeah, and find out what it is that we truly want, what truly matters to us, and what we can drop. Yeah, because it's just like unnecessary baggage. It'll just slow us down. Then, as the month goes on, we'll see more and more revelations of truths through the media, the things that can be quite shocking for people who are just now awakening to, that things are not always the way we believe them to be. This is not a conspiracy. There's really, just something that we could probably not fathom in the deepest sense of it, that people could really have these kind of agendas. Yeah, this can also play out in your smaller world. Yeah, maybe with coworkers or your boss. Yeah, where you realize, wow, they really don't have my best interest in mind. Yeah, that asks you to reconsider. Yeah, if it's even okay for you to work for this company, this place, or consume the products of this company, or things like that. Yeah, mindful considerations are necessary. You really have to go into the meaning of all this, not just, oh my God, did you hear the shocking news about this celebrity or that person or that party or whatever? Guys, next year is election year here in the United States, and you all know what's going on. So this is going to be a dirty fight. Yeah, and in the process of that, there's going to be a lot of things, like corruption and collusion and so forth revealed. Yeah. So I suggest that, you take this as this drama show that is going on there, yeah, in the media, that you take this as a welcome reminder to take a break from all of this, to take a break from social media, to go out and commune with nature, to tune into yourself, maybe by listening to music, to helping your soul to harmonize with all this. By the way, singing is a beautiful way, or even just humming, to harmonize your entire energy body to your soul self, just so that you can sort of work better with all these surprising revelations, instead of just reacting to them. Now, on January 20th and around this time, is obviously never really the exact dates, we have something very interesting here happening in the etheric, and that is it's almost like a moment where the light and the dark meets. So I don't know how that is going to play out. I know what will come out of it, but I don't know how this is going to come about. So skim the news, just skim the news. There'll be things, news announcements, okay, that will show us what this confrontation of the light and dark, the actual spiritual powers coming together, what that will bring in. It will probably come with some more earthquakes and floods on this physical earth plane, okay? But how this is going to come about, I'm very, very curious about this. So in the etheric, it's a big event. And around this time, you can expect that there is a lot of stuff happening. I called this here synergetic impulse to come together. A lot of stuff happening that people need to process, that people need to talk about, that people need to just like come to terms with. And this is a good impulse, all right? So we feel that in us, wanting to talk about things, wanting to give things a voice. It's part of this truth impulse here, the spirit of truth coming in this month. Then around the last third of the month here, time frames such as the 23rd to the 26th, integrating of wounds of the past. This will trigger a lot of stuff. This has to do with these insecure attachments, feelings of betrayal, abandonment, rejection, feeling forsaken even. So for some of us more psychological, for others more spiritual. There'll be a little bit of a downer here where you have to be careful to not get pulled into this doom and gloom, these fears of no future. Okay, so there is a future, I can assure you that. But at the same time, realize that whenever you get into this dark place, it's really the wounds of your past. It's the fear of re-experiencing it. So, it really does relate to the future in a way. So when our anxiety gets triggered, it's always something that relates to the past that we are afraid of. So if we can integrate these wounds of the past and really focus on self-healing, then you will notice that you have much less fear of the future. So this anxiety around the future is because you're not fully transcended your past. Something that we practice here at transCODES, how to connect the future with the present and the past so that we no longer need to fear it. So then around the full moon time, yeah, this is, gonna swing with here, especially here in the United States. With these full moon energies, we always have this sort of outburst and of clearing energies, yeah, corrections. And this will go on until April. So there's a lot here in the United States that needs to come forward and that people need to come to terms with. And this will lead to unrest, yeah, to things that will further weaken sort of the power of the United States as a nation. And other nations may take advantage of that. So there's stuff here, yeah, that we're going to have to deal with that's not, something we can look forward to. So as I, live here in the United States myself, I know exactly what's coming, and yet I'm here, right? There's also many beautiful things that are coming to unfoldment here, and we always need to see it in context, yeah. In the forecast on my website, I wrote, buckle up. It's not going to be easy for a lot of people to accept these new truths. Yeah, it's a shift of a whole entire belief system. So that doesn't always go easy, guys. Yeah, and then to the very last days of the month, a new impulse, very beautiful harmonic impulse. Yeah, that helps us to, find strength together. Yeah, that helps us to harmonize with truth and show us that, even if our ego dislikes truth at first, that it always leads to higher and better expressions in the end. My self-healing tip for you this month: clear out your stagnant energies on all levels, on the physical, yeah, with your body. Do a detox, do a fast, or start a new exercise routine. On the emotional level, yeah, really work with your energies, seek a therapist, seek a coach to work through this so that you can better understand yourself and learn what you can do about, these triggers and these pains that you still carry in you. On a mental level, learn, educate yourself about these bigger realities, yeah, that we are being sort of nudged into. On the spiritual level, understand that, once you connect with something like your own soul or your own true self, yeah, that this is a whole reality that is behind that, yeah, a different reality than the 3D reality, and that you are indeed a soul with a body and not a body with a soul. And on an energetic level, clearing stagnant energies always means, yeah, to engage in things and activities and techniques and so forth that help you to self-clear. Watch the 12 Days of Sacred Self. There you can learn a lot of these methods and techniques. Yeah, or come to my classes and courses. Love Integrity is the relationship course here in these next 3.5, 4 months. Yeah, how to apply these spiritual and energetic reality to our relationships, or even consider learning energy healing techniques. Perhaps maybe at first just to heal yourself, but to learn more, to educate yourself more about the spiritual and energetic reality that surrounds you. Be disciplined about whatever it is that you say you're going to do. Yeah, this is a part of authenticity, because there can be a sort of like a weakening process in you, that when you don't stick to your word, when you don't hold your own promises, you can't afford that in this month. Call out truth in others, yes. This doesn't always mean that you have to yell at people, oh, you're wrong and I'm right. This is not what that means. But it can mean, to actually be truthful with others and say, you know what, the way I see it is this way, and I recognize that you see it differently. Yeah, that's also what calling out truth in others can mean. Yeah, And you'll see that this starts a whole new dynamic, because when you talk to other people in truth, it also makes their energy body resonate with more truths, yeah, unless they storm out or attack you. But for the most part, when it's people that you have in your life, it will actually increase the quality of your communication. So self-honesty really is the key here. On a physical level, just real quick, guys, you need to clear out your lymphatic system. Go get craniosacral reflexology acupuncture this month. Also help your gallbladder and your liver. Those are all, parts of your body that are responsible or in charge of discarding all these stagnant and toxic energies. You really need to help your body, your physical systems with letting go of this. Yeah, talk to an herbalist, talk to a naturopath. Yeah, how you can support your liver with herbs or mushrooms or teas and essences, and your gallbladder, maybe with some foods that you refrain from for a certain amount of time, yeah. And understand that this, attuning to the spirit of truth, uh, really what it wants to do in you is increase your capacity for light. So the sort of truth in an esoteric sense is, you know, the light bringer. It is what brings in the light, yeah, what allows you to tune into the power of, bringing light into the dark. Yeah, it's a double-edged sword, and it's also, something that creates a lot of residue here and there. It asks us to let go of things, yeah, and these things then need to be cleared out. When it comes to the things in your heart that you've been carrying in your heart, it often affects our lungs. Yeah, so infections of the lung, or the lower respiratory system, or asthma and so forth, they often point at, like your sort of heart chakra not being fully balanced, not really being in harmony with your life. So whether that is that you are too giving, yeah, maybe you sacrifice yourself too much, or that you're too egotistical, all right, that you just want to receive, that you feel entitled to things. So these things often play out in lung issues. Yeah, so overall, okay, the month of January is all about authenticity and truth, and especially allowing yourself to tune into more authentic and more truthful expressions of yourself. This requires you to give yourself the space to explore. Sorry. Speaking of those things. So this requires you to give yourself permission to explore your true self. Feel welcome to join the Connect with Your True Self session, the monthly free energy healing session that I conduct here at transCODES, and use this as an opportunity to tune in and to cultivate your relationship with your true self. Other than that, check out my website for personal sessions, energy coaching, energy therapy, or the Energy Training Club, or any of my classes that are coming up here now in 2024. Thank you so much for watching, for participating, and especially for sharing. Love you guys, and I wish you a wonderful year 2024. It starts out with the desire for more. Go for it.